Hello there, dear viewer, and welcome back to Skyrim,
Never should have come here.
where for this video I become a member of a properly evil doom-saying cult from the Elder Scrolls 4.
Take that!
The Mythic Dawn. This is a really weird build. A warrior-assassin conjurer, sort of? Pretty darn good at all three. It is possible with a few excellent mods and sheer determination. The Mythic Dawn agent, when the build is complete, is capable to infiltrate locations unseen, slay enemies with a series of dual-wielding sneak attacks, but once discovered he can also run around like a maniac and fight for as long as is needed, because he actually uses heavy armor with a few perfectly balanced modded heavy armor perks to boot. He can also improvise a small-scale Daedric invasion thanks to a spell from the Apocalypse mod, basically summoning a summoner who continuously summons cute little Dremoras to your aid. Then he retains all that heavy armor ability to stagger melee attackers and even make them drop to the floor after they hit you, with the excellent defense of some alteration perks and spells, meaning in the end he will have 80% incoming damage reduction, 80% chance to absorb incoming spells, and some magic and elemental resistances for the rare cases when some spells actually can hurt him. I am sure sooner or later someone will ask in the comments, but Belly, what's the point of all the warrior perks if you can sneak kill almost anything anyway? And why do you use alteration armor with heavy armor? Are you really differently abled, Belly?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Well, hypothetical viewer, Skyrim is 12 years old and I am trying to figure out something I've never done before, right? Also, this combination actually works well. It's surprisingly efficient and offers a lot of variety in gameplay. Roleplay-wise, I was thinking of a very old high elf who remembers the days of the actual Mythic Dawn and has fond memories of his membership. He now considers Mankar Camoran a fool and a weakling who wasted a perfectly good idea of bringing demonic hordes of doom into the world of man and bear. He will not rest until he becomes a new champion of Mehrunes Dagon and figures out the way to reopen the jaws of oblivion and unleash the invasion again. Failing that, he will just work towards maximizing pain and suffering in the empire that has destroyed his youthful hopes for the weird twisted paradise. With a lovely, lovely chap, stewing in resentment and vengefulness for centuries, he will help the Vokrii in turning the sun off, and the Dark Brotherhood in assassinating the Emperor. Obviously, that's what we do in the world of evil conspiratorial death cults. After the adventure with the Vokrii vampires, I would cure my vampirism, though. We don't need its boons, and its weaknesses are annoying, and of course, we don't exactly serve Molag we are just using his gift for a bit. Truth be known, I simply wanted to get my hands on the Ring of the Erudite, one of the most powerful items for mages in this game, especially mages who don't do much crafting. Yes, this is actually an almost no crafting build. Okay, so I took one perk in enchanting. One, simply to have some decent effects on my feet and hands. Other than that, no crafting is necessary, although some unperked alchemy may help you through the somewhat challenging early game. Yep, early game can be annoying for hybrid builds if you start spreading out into too many playstyles too early. So my advice is to focus on sneak, illusion and conjuration first, so that you can use bound weapons and muffle to infiltrate and sneak attack easily. I guess that also means one-handed for the first, say, 15-20 levels. Luckily, with our set of mods we will get, for example, a rather cheap and super useful novice level invisibility spell known as the Ghost Walk. It gives you a very short invisibility, and you can combine that with muffle and you are almost impossible to detect even with little to no sneak perks. You can then sneak up to someone and deliver a sneak attack. The invisibility from the Ghost Walk will be broken and you will be teleported to a place where you cast the spell in the first place. It's rather useful. But let's talk all the mods. I used Vokrii perk overhaul, of course, and it makes the lives of hybrid builds considerably easier, especially if you like to cast spells while remaining hidden, because it makes quiet casting in illusion available a bit sooner than vanilla. It also introduces some useful alteration and heavy armor perks that make this build a somewhat unique experience, and since your armor is a bound one, it's weightless and therefore doesn't affect your sneak success And yes, it's time to address the elephant in the room. I am using bound Daedric armor mod. I am aware there is a mod that gives you the exact Mythic Dawn armor. Sadly, the Mythic Dawn armor mod gives you two subpar choices. You either use the bound version of the set that you can conjure with a spell, which carries no enchantments while removing all the items you might have enchanted except some jewelry. Or you can craft the armor, but that would mean this would be just yet another crafting build of which I've made many. Also, no matter the looks, it doesn't feel like being a Mythic Dawn cultist at all if you just wear it, if you just craft it and wear it. What you do when you are a Mythic Dawn, you wear a set of completely normal clothes, pretending to be, a normal citizen minding his own business, and then you suddenly start shouting some weird things about the end of the world, and just your full set of armor appears around you and you start whacking like a madman. It also helps a little bit that the bound Daedric armor allows you to keep all your enchanted items, so I guess I prefer to pretend our perfectly normal friend here wanted to make his own version of the classic armor spell to set himself apart from the failure of a leader known as Mankar Camoran. I do wear the Mythic Dawn robe though, despite its rather disappointing enchantment. The two spell mods Apocalypse, Spells of Skyrim, and Odin Magic Overhaul provide you with spells that go with the concept very well, a whole series of Dremora summons, from petty churls to champions, and Odin has a particularly useful conjure Clanfear spell. Clanfears are scary lesser Daedra that deal bleeding damage and can knock down their targets. Considering your race and standing stone, you will have plenty of magicka at your disposal very early, and so you can start summoning Clanfears very early, and it will be a major step in solving your initial difficulties with combining all the playstyles. Simple bound weapons was used because I wanted to have a bound mace. This little mod requires a compatibility patch to work with Vokrii perks. Vokrii can make a mace very useful against spellcasters, disabling their ability to use magic for a bit. And we also have the Atronach Stone and perk, so the character is also quite good at taking down any competing maniacal Daedric conjurers. He doesn't like them either. Winter Sun Faiths of Skyrim is activated in this run so that I can actually worship Mehrunes Dagon. The mechanics, though, while fun, are completely unnecessary for the build. It's fun when enemies around you slowly burn and explode on death, but making a proper use of it would require some distraction perks, maybe some distraction potions and stuff, and we do none of that here. I kept it in load order mostly for roleplay. And also for roleplay I used your market stall mod to have, well, a market stall I can place somewhere in the world and sell stuff to passers-by. In case they don't want to trade with me or I don't have the time to set up the shop, I also used immersive speechcraft to be able to convince NPCs to barter with me. I am a good citizen who by no means plots the destruction of this entire plane of existence. Right, so the race is High Elf, because we are going to need heaps of magicka. The Standing Stone is unsurprisingly the Atronach, because we need heaps of magicka and would like to have some protection against spells despite wasting item slots for fashion. And the attribute spread is 3 points of magicka per 4 of health per 4 of stamina. A perfectly even spread would also work, but considering the stone, the race and some of the items, I wanted a few more points in stamina, because in Vokrii stamina can give you extra damage output on power attacks, which is great given you go berserk with 2 bound weapons. Speaking of going berserk, we need the left-hand side of the one-handed skill tree for the dual-wielding bits. Without smithing, dual-wielding is the best bet for a lot of damage quickly. Only 1 rank of dual flurry is required. The build requires enough perks as is, which is why the Blade Dancer perk, which grants you 30% damage resistance when you dual power attack, is marked as optional. Eventually, you will have more than enough protection from the Dragonhide spell placed on you automatically each fight. But the Dragonhide has a short duration, so Blade Dancer can very occasionally prove useful. Then we get the Mace perks, with just 1 rank of denting blows for enemy armor reduction. Victory Rush should be taken with this one, definitely, since with the mace you will spend your stamina quickly and there is only so much a hybrid non-crafting build can do to enhance attributes. Victory Rush restores 100 points of stamina on a one-handed kill. Then on the right we get Disciplined Fighter for stamina cost reduction for power attacks. As always, I highly recommend taking this one as soon as possible. Furious Strength is the one that grants you extra damage on power attacks derived from your current stamina, so it works great with Victory Rush. Crater Maker is the one that grants you a 25% chance to fling your enemy into the air on a forward power attack. It is quite satisfying to disable an enemy with this and then just execute them with a dual flurry. In heavy armor, we take everything that can make our enemies miserable, so everything on the left hand side up to and including face of the mountain, so that enemies knock themselves to the floor when they power attack against you. We of course also have fit and training to maximize armor rating and remove any penalties. Elemental defense will grant you 15% resistance to all elements when in all heavy armor. It combines nicely with the second rank of Alter Self, giving you 25% resistance to 2 elements of your choosing. You may decide both Elemental Defense and Alter Self 2 are redundant here, since we are going to get 80% spell absorption chance. It is just 80% though, and I would rather not use any exploits or advanced alchemy with this one, so just in case I opted for some resistances. Spare no expense in the conjuration skill. Everything on the left hand side that improves your summons was taken with the obvious goal of unlocking the twin souls in the end, so that I can have a Clanfear and a Dremora champion, or a Dremora champion and a Lord of Bindings, who keeps spawning more and more little Dremora churls, or 2 Lords of Bindings, of course, for the absolute mayhem of those little buggers. And the Clanfear is affected by elemental potency, and all of them are affected by Oblivion Stone, granting your summons 200 extra armor and 50% magic resistance. Rift Summoner is quite useful when you also have quiet casting and can remain hidden easily. Your summoning range will be increased, so you can just sneak into a dungeon and surprise your unsuspecting foes with a sudden mini Daedric invasion, and then either support your summons with an entropic spell from Odin or conjure up all your gear and just go to town on them while they are busy with your summons. Awesome! It was quite difficult to decide on the exact perk choice in Alteration. For example, I opted for only 1 rank of Mage Armor. With the summons providing some distraction and quite effective sneak, it was rather easy to avoid damage altogether. Occasionally it was tedious, but my main goal was to get Kato's Preparation, so that in the end I would have the Dragon Hide cast on me for free each fight. Dragon Hide simply removes the need for any armor rating. More importantly, we actually want to wear heavy armor. Our bound armor is heavy one. Before the Dragon Hide, the basic armor rating of flesh spells will stack nicely with the armor rating of the armor. With Ebony Flesh, for example, you will get a grand total of 450 armor rating, which is not bad at all. On the other hand, Alter Self 1 was taken for extra 25 points of Magicka, of course, that's quite useful, but the second rank, as mentioned, maybe is not necessary with your spell absorption. I went with it for the frost and shock resistances to protect my attributes a little bit, and all 3 ranks of magic resistance were also taken on the way. It probably won't hurt the build to take only 1 or 2 ranks of it on your way to the quintessential Atronach perk. Then in Illusion we want the quiet casting, as all sneaky old wizards should have it. I only used the skill for Muffle, Ghostwalk and Invisibility spells, no mind affecting things. I guess I won't blame you if you train the skill by casting Courage or Rally on your summons too, but mostly it didn't feel appropriate for the concept. Invisibility and Muffle is something I would totally expect from a Mythic Down agent on the other hand. In Sneak, the bare necessities are Mastery and Sneak Attack. With Invisibility and Muffle, you should have no troubles with remaining hidden or even hiding in combat in case your armor spells or bound armor suddenly run out on you. So all the left hand perks with Silent Roll and Dodge Roll are optional. It's just me and my soft spot for Silent Roll Valorous Charge combo. When you roll and then do a forward power attack, so you score a double crit and then a sneak attack on the way and get a chance to knock out anyone who somehow survives this. Yeah, quite cool, but the build won't suffer much without it. Finally, we need enchanting mastery. Skyrim has no decent pre-enchanted gloves or shoes, which is weird, and someone should do something. For example, the Creation Club could have fixed that long ago. Why bother when you can sell horse armor? It just so happens enchanting skill of 100, the mastery perk and an enchanter's elixir can allow you to create items matching the peerless generic magic items, so I use this 1 perk point for the sake of efficiency. To be more precise, some effects will match the peerless quality, some will be just a little bit below it, but it's more or less comparable. So yeah, gear. We want to wear a Mythic Dawn robe, of course, the Ring of the Erudite, Necklace of Peerless Wielding or a handmade equivalent, Mage's Circlet or equivalent, Fortify one-handed on the boots and Fortify Magicka on the gloves. For the sake of roleplay, I would also sometimes wear some completely civilian clothing with Fortify Conjuration on it, especially early on. Even a 15% cost reduction on your conjuration spells can make a difference. Ring of the Erudite is of course an amazing item for wizards with 100 extra points of Magicka and Magicka regeneration. This regeneration stacks with the one from the robe. This will completely negate the penalty from the Atronach stone and then give you a net boost to Magicka regeneration. Mage's Circlet is best acquired after level 25 and its enchantment will be hard to match with your unimpressive enchanting, so consider enrolling with the college at least for the first few quests. But why do we need so much Magicka? The ring, altar self, the Atronach stone, the high of the gloves? Well, I really wanted to be able to use a few really high level spells. Chiefly Banish Living, which sends a target NPC to oblivion, just removes them from the game entirely, no questions asked. Also, the Lord of Bindings is a master level spell, and I wouldn't feel like a Mythic Dawn agent without some way of filling the screen with little Daedric invaders. Also, all the prep you need to do before combat eats away quite some Magicka already. Bound armor, some summons, 2 bound weapons, invisibility perhaps. I wanted to have some Magicka left for an occasional paralysis rune or some such. So here is the list of quintessential spells. I would advise to use more, of course, have fun with all the Dremora and Daedric summons from Apocalypse and from Odin, but these are the essentials. I've talked about them, most of them already. This is just a reminder. Ghost Walk and Muffle make you a much better assassin. Conjured minions are all Daedric in this case, and the Clan Fear will be a godsend early game. Lord of Bindings spawns Dremora churls to swarm your foe and fill your screen. You should also consider obtaining 2 Black Book powers, Seeker of Sorcery and Secret of Arcana. Even with all the focus on Magicka, the combined cost of your favorite spells will occasionally create problems. Some cost reduction and the ability to cast spells for free for 30 seconds once per day should provide you with some extra spellcasting flexibility. Okay, so this is a really cartoonishly evil character, but also a wonderful hybrid build, very powerful without much crafting, capable of so many fun, overwhelming feats of combat and magic. It is fun to play. I've got a strong sense of nostalgia and a real roleplay immersion despite playing this one rather briefly and in a hurry. I do hope you will get a lot of apocalyptic fun with this one and immerse yourself in the double life of a murderous evil madman pretending to be a simple merchant between his grim adventures where he sends demons after people he despises, which is most of people. A really good one for a Dark Brotherhood run, I would say, and for most of the Daedric quests. Right, I don't want to say goodbye yet, but I have other videos to make and you have a build to play, so be a good viewer, give me a like, comment and share, and consider supporting me via Subscribestar or with the super thanks button down there, and we will see each other again. Bye bye!